Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's Dustin here from PaymentEvolution. We're appreciating everybody taking the time to come and look at our webinar. We've been doing an array of webinars over the last month, of course, trying to help bookkeepers, accountants, and business owners, of course, all alike to be able to run their T4s and their T4As and their RO1s and all these different tax forms that are necessary for personal taxes for our employees over the last month. And it's been quite hectic. We've been having varying different degrees of these webinars, and we're really excited to kind of finalize our tax season success with PaymentEvolution for a lot of our bookkeepers and accountants that are actually working with us, or sorry, yet to work with us, but are looking to come on board with us and showing them how easy some things are. So without further ado, we'd love to kind of get into the actual presentation. Like I said, my name is Dustin Meneses. I'm the director here of our CS team, customer success and sales team. And I've been kind of responsible over here for the ability to kind of show our potential new clients or potentially new businesses and accountants and bookkeepers on how to make this tax season a little bit simpler with leveraging a tool like ours. So we'll go right into the presentation. I was gonna be extremely, I would say, detailed when it came to presenting the webinar today, but I think it's there were different functionalities for the different webinars that we were performing, and one of the things that I wanted to do today was to really kind of talk to the upcoming bookkeepers and accountants that are working with us, and basically provide you guys some idea around these 4 or 5 items that you can see on the screen today for our agenda. We wanted to show you how PaymentEvolution is a top payroll and tax automation provider for firms and bookkeeping practices. We wanted to be able to show why PE is faster and more accurate than our competitors, than competitors out there, not necessarily ours, but all the rest of the competitors out there. And we wanted to stay organized year round, and make it a little bit more of a breeze for everybody. We hear this every year. I wish my tax season or T4 prep was a lot easier to do. We want to be able to review some things about the year to date, of course, and then we're going to show you how to generate those T4s, T4As, and RO1s here, and submit them, so you have an idea of how fast we can actually help you as an accountant and a bookkeeper. So I think, though, it's important for us to understand why tax season gets messy. And I'm sure there's a lot of reasons for many people, but the reason why a lot of times tax season gets super messy is because of missing or late information. A lot of times for bookkeepers and accountants, there's a lot of rework across different spreadsheets and tools and things that you need to do to make sure things are done properly by the client who's typically running their own payroll. I think it's fair to say we are maybe a tad bit biased, letting our accountants and bookkeepers and letting them know that they should be running payroll for their clients. It doesn't always happen. Sometimes we have some clients that are not looking for that aspect of the service. They feel that they can do it themselves. But there's always some type of work that we're doing afterwards. So we want to make sure that things are less messy. And again, things that make it really messy, later missing information from your clients, maybe manual corrections that have been done in the past by your client or by yourself that maybe we forgot, or some staff that was not well done. And I say this because maybe we're using so many different tools, and we strongly suggest using one tool to mitigate any further mistakes, or mitigating any type of issues where you have to do some corrections. And this happens a lot with a lot of firms that have like 4 or 5 different tools. We're not saying that staff members or team members are not great. We're saying there's a lot of different tools that we're using, and so sometimes we may miss something. It's human nature. We do make errors from time to time, but we want to mitigate those as much as possible, right? By using a simple tool, and hopefully by amalgamating everything or the different payroll tools into one, and using something like our Evolve platform, like Payroll, or one of our competitors, for example. But there might be some employee changes, some address changes, some name changes, some wages changes, of course, and of course, last minute changes or things that needs to get done. Last minute stress might equate to a higher error risk. So there's a lot of reasons why tax season gets messy. Again, stress, missing information, mitigating mistakes because maybe we have a training of a platform that we didn't use or we're not super familiar with and we forgot to miss a step. There are various different reasons why things can get really messy. But because it is T4 season and because tax season is important, because a lot of individuals are looking to get a return or do them properly and not get fined, it's going to be really important that we get this right. So what forms are we really talking about to make sure that payment evolution can help? Number one is going to be the T4s, of course, employee income and deductions, T4As for contractors, RL1 or relevant for the Quebec relevant for employees, and also P helps generate these cleanly and consistently throughout. If you've been using us for the entire year, you are able to use it pretty quickly with us. And those are the specific tax forms that we're going to be talking about today, because those are the forms that we actually provide assistance with. So, let's talk a little bit more about how Payment Evolution streamlines those forms. Well, the truth is that there's a unified system integrating multiple payment methods, seamlessly. We hear a lot of firms are using multiple different tools. So again, maybe you're using, some of our competitors like Payworks or WagePoint or Humi. You're using Payment Evolution. You're using QuickBooks Online Payroll. You're using QuickBooks Desktop Payroll. You're using all these different solutions. And one of the things that really helps a lot of firms that are not using Payment Evolution but transition to Payment Evolution is that they can use a single solution to be able to streamline everything. And we give kind of the best margins and provide some really good, robust feature sets. Unlike a lot of different tools out there that are having, new versions of their software not even coming to parity with the software features that are available in prior iterations of a lot of our competitors. We see this a lot with QuickBooks Online initially not having all the feature sets that were necessary that QuickBooks Desktop had, and it kind of mitigated people to going into the cloud. It's important to have everything in one. And if it's possible, have less than four, right? Maybe one or two solutions. The forms here are generated pretty quickly from real payroll records. It actually, you can use our solution and then use it for creating those T4s, T4As, and RL1s very quickly at a click of a button, which we'll show you in a demo very, very soon. But there's also a lot of built-in checklists to reduce mistakes. And as well, there's a lot of ability for one-click generations for these multiple employees. Because likely if you're an accountant or a bookkeeper, you're dealing with multiple employees or multiple businesses that have multiple employees. And if there's only one or two of them, that's no problem, but it can be done very, very quickly. And also on top of that, Payment Evolution streamlines the forms by creating a faster workflow for you and your clients, right? So this is typically help for maybe not you as a business owner or you as a practice owner or a practice lead or one of the partners. If you're doing this, it'll help you, but it'll really help your staff. And what we're really trying to do during tax time is hopefully retain as much hair as we can to be able to assist your clients and to provide you guys not the burnout that you want to have that typically happens when you're unprepared. So again, we're trying to mitigate stress. We're trying to mitigate some assistance or errors and assist people with mitigating those by using a simple solution like ours. The next thing too is that we want to talk about what are some tips to avoid errors and penalties. And I think I need to preface this part of the webinar with saying like I've been in fintech or in accounting for probably just shy about 20 years, but more from a sales perspective, right? I mean, I have a bit of a background in working in the industry, but I'm going to tell you, you guys are definitely more in the minutia than I am. So you guys are far more experts when it comes to what are some tips and tricks that you should be avoiding. Try to, look internally and do a little bit of a self-assessment and say, like, what did I do last year that didn't help us, or could be better done so that this year could be far more streamlined. But some of the basic things that I talk about here are keeping employee details updated. You would be surprised how many systems don't have an employee portal. And that employee portal doesn't communicate necessarily. It should communicate with your payroll software. So we here at Payment Evolution have something called Checker. It is the employee portal for that many of the end users will be using to see their pay stubs and also to log in to see their tax forms. This is really important. That needs to be updated. They should be able to update address, their SIN number, or some information that's necessary, and connect it with the accounting software. If you're using a software where it doesn't do that and you have to do it manually or update things later on, it gets really messy. So we encourage people to keep those details obviously up to date as much as possible and as soon as possible. Um, Secondarily, we ask people to review the tax table benefits pretty early. We also ask people to catch mismatched totals before filing. These are things that can help mitigate a lot of headaches. And then the last two, we can, run a year-end preview before deadlines to check things out and to make sure things are running properly or on their way to being properly done. And use the validation warnings as your safeguard. It's important for you to see, hold on a second, how do I check this for myself when I'm doing some type of action? We do a lot of this for you in the app, but we ask people to think about who are not using PaymentEvolution. How can you use a better validation warning to start any type of problem or potential issue that'll come up? If you're not doing something like that, you don't have the ability of doing that, then maybe we need to use a solution that will help you to do that. So staying organized all year long is extremely important. I can't stress this enough. This is not just stay organized in February when you're running T4s for your clients or for yourself, for your employees. It's important for us to do this year round. And I think the problem lies is that depending on the work that we're doing with our client, we may not be checking information year round. Um, Now, there's a lot of you that will be like scoffing and saying like, "Oh, of course we check everything year round." Cool. I'm glad that you're one of the small percentage of people that are pragmatic and prepared to ensure that they're doing this properly for their clients. If you're not doing it, please try to set yourself up for success. We want to make things easier. It de-stresses everybody around you and your team and also your partners, such as us, whenever we need to deal with something. Because as you can imagine, servicing 40,000 new businesses here in Canada allows us to have a level of support that needs to be very streamlined and prioritized. And so if we can get that help from you guys, that's always great. But also if we can help your clients that maybe you refer clients to using our solution, we want to be able to service them as best as possible. So how do you stay organized? Well, you can automate record keeping from day one. You can track changes in payroll automatically by using a tool that does that if there are any changes that give you a highlight when you run a pay run and something has changed up. Maybe you can reduce where's this info emails and you can have people leverage updating of company details, sorry, of personal details in the uh, like online portal that you can use or the app that you can use to be able to see your tool, right? See your T4, see your tax, your pay. Clean data is really going to equate to faster year-end forms. And so if you can use something to help yourself be more organized, I know I'm kind of beating the dead horse here. It's important that you realize that consistency will allow you to be a far more stress-free later on. And of course, we want to spend less time fixing and more time advising our clients or advising your clients to help them out with what they need. Right. So as long as you can do something super quick and it's accurate and it's done really well, we're going to encourage you guys to use some of that stuff and those tips to stay organized all through the year. So what really sets PaymentEvolution apart is these probably 5, 6 things. One, you can do an array of things, number one. But the first thing you can do is really have one-click form generation with PaymentEvolution when you're doing T4s or T4As and RL1s with us. Uh, Built-in validation to prevent errors. There's stuff, all of that's there. The stuff that we talked about prior. Year-round bookkeeping and automation is going to be available for you. Accountant dashboard with bulk tools so you can act faster, action those tasks faster and help you out and be more accurate and go into the right tool to the right account for all your, clients that you have. Maybe you have, 2, 4, 5 clients. Maybe you have 20, 50 clients. Maybe you have 200 to 300 clients, like some of our users, right? We run the gamut. We have people with small firms to all the way as national firms, using our solution with hundreds of clients to tens of clients, depending on the size of your firm and who you serve. But you need something that's going to make it simple, like an account dashboard that allows you to have access to bulk tools. And lastly, of course, You want faster workflows versus traditional payroll systems. I think it's fair to say if you're just sending timesheets to, ADP or Ceridian or some larger kind of managed service type of scenario, there's very little insight that you have unless you're paying close attention. But if you do it yourself, you can make a little bit more of a margin for yourself by providing a solution for your client. And also, you can use a solution that is very quick. So, how Payment Evolution supports accountants and bookkeepers year round, there's very specific things that we do. Now, these are I think the top five things that we do with regards to this topic, but there's many more. Um, we have accounting friendly tools and reporting that allow things to be much more understood. We were probably the first platform for payroll that has been purposely created for accountants and bookkeepers. Uh, don't be don't be confused. I think a lot of times people, see this from a lot of our competitors. They say, "Oh, we're purposely built for accountants and bookkeepers." Yeah, no problem. There has been tools out there that have been created right from its inception, like us, um, that are built for accountants and bookkeepers, and also for the small business market that you guys serve as well, or the businesses that you serve as well. So we were purposely made for you guys, and there are some really great tools in accounting and reporting that allow you to be able to see tons of stuff here at Payment Evolution. And we're always evolving. We're always making things better. It's actually part of our name, Payment Evolution. We're evolving as much as possible every year to make things better for our clients. Number two, we're creating faster workflows that really for getting client payroll out and done quicker and more accurately. We want to be able to provide less manual admin and build more billable time for you to be able to help yourself and your firm. And of course, we want to have better accuracy for compliance confidence. There's a lot of other things that people don't take into consideration when it comes to compliance. Does your tool that you're using, are they RPA compliant? Are they SOC compliant for you and your clients? Are they FinTrack compliant? Are you using tools that help you with your compliance as well? And that's one of the things that we do. We give a lot of confidence to people because of our capability of being compliant with an array of different regulations. And then lastly, of course, we think about the faster workflows for you and your clients, whichever way you do it, meaning if you run payroll for them or if your client is running it themselves, we give you the ability to have something simple to do. Now, the only thing that I think is a negative about providing support, with all of our accountants and bookkeepers that we have is that we make the capability of running payroll very simple, and that sometimes is a double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword because we provide great assistance for our clients and helping people when they know how to do it. It's a cinch when people have an idea or have some payroll acumen. But many times if people don't have payroll acumen, because it looks so simple and easy to do, it's very easy for someone to get mistaken. So, we've made it super easy for people. And then sometimes the overconfidence comes with a couple of errors. So we always recommend our clients to have an accountant or bookkeeper. We recommend them to be going to people like yourself. And if there are people like you who are open to some referrals from our current client base, we'd love to send it to you once you're a part of our network and become a client of ours. This is some of the stuff that we do for our clients, for specifically bookkeeping and accountant firms. So, what's the competitive comparison? I think if we reduce everything to the ridiculous to the simplest truth, the truth is that traditional systems are far more manual work than we think. I think that their slower year-end prep happens, and they don't have the ability of doing this pretty quickly. And the problem with that is as well is that because it's manual, because it's a little bit slower, and sometimes it's repetitive work, there's a higher risk in missing some of the details. We don't want that. We want to make sure that you have quite the opposite. So with Payment Evolution, in comparison, you're going to be able to have the ability of using a tool that's built for speed and accuracy, that has automation first workflows for you, meaning they can do things that are a little bit more, take off the burden of the repetitive actions for you. And then on top of that, we're designed for accountants and their SMB clients. Like we are purposely made for you guys. And kind of the real impact that you'll gain out of all of this really is you'll reduce your time spent on year-end forms, and you're going to reduce corrections and amended slips, and you're going to also increase client satisfaction. It is no mistake that you and your relationship with your client is what keeps people retained. You and the service that you provide for your clients, accurate service that you provide for your clients, is how you retain a great client. It's not about your pricing, believe it or not. And, if you want to talk about pricing in another, webinar or in another conversation, please let me know. I'm typically on the phones with our team, providing some assistance, and we'd love to tell you how, uh, show you facts on how pricing a client, or price being more expensive, is actually going to be super helpful for you by setting the expectation of helping your clients grow, because they need to know that the service that you provide is valuable, not invaluable by reducing its value by not having any type of cost. So you'll reduce your time spent on these year-end forms. You'll do accurate help for them. You'll reduce corrections and amend those slips for them. You'll be able to increase client satisfaction. You'll be able to free up time for advisory and growth, because that's really where the money is. And on top of that, you'll be able to deliver consistent outcomes for every client. So the cool thing here is you'll be able to grow your firm. So we talk about it quite a bit. We're giving you some high level information. We'd love to show you a little bit of the demo of the tool, where we can walk through some of the features and how to onboard some clients really quickly, and also do some automations to save hours per month. Okay. And then we're going to have a little bit of a questioning and answer opportunity afterwards. So I'm going to move to my screen here. You should be able to see a login here to Payment Evolution. And I'm going to log in really quickly. I tried logging in before. I just wanted to make sure that we had access to some trial accounts for you guys to take a look at. And one of the things that I love about payment, oh, sorry, hold on. I think I put in the wrong password. I'm trying to remember what the right password was. We should be good to go. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so when we log into Payment Evolution, this is typically what you see when you're an accountant or bookkeeper. You'll be able to see what we call a blue tile will be a direct company that maybe you are working with, and you'll be able to log into the tool and be able to provide them some assistance, and you likely have access to it. But there's also this orange tile, which is a kind of a partner tile, and in essence, you'll be able to log into Evolve. So for many of you who maybe have seen our product in the past, you'll be looking at our client management dashboard called Evolve. We have an accountant plan that is lower than this, that is kind of like our super entry level plan. It's called our advanced plan. And that only has access to a grid of your clients, and then you can go in directly from them. But this client management dashboard that you're seeing right here, right now, will allow you to see client lists, usage reports of whenever transactions have been finalized, or you'll actually also be able to see all your clients in one dash. You'll also be able to see an audit log of what's been happening in some of the accounts in a bird's eye view overview. You'll be able to access some support tickets and message our support team directly, as well as provide feature or product feedback to us. We work with a lot of accounting professionals, and we want to hear what they have to say. So it's going to be important that we actually get your feedback and your information to make the tool that you're using even faster, better, stronger, and more efficient for you. But the cool thing here is there's different tiles that allow you to do different things as they load, because it's a trial account or like a test account. I'll show you where we can go to actually go and run a payroll. So if I go to tap to tax slip enthusiasts, let's do that really quickly. It'll give us a little bit more of a client dashboard view, allowing us to see if there were any support tickets for that client, any pay run history, and or an audit log. It's loading now because we want to make sure that obviously it has the most relevant information, but I can actually go into and run a payroll really quickly with some of our quick actions. You'll be able to pay invoices, manage add-ons like accounting softwares and different integrations, and also you'll be able to run payroll. So I'm going to go ahead and click on running a payroll. It's going to take us to the solution to how to do that. And it'll take us, once we set up the client and the employees, it'll allow us to run a pay run. So some people typically say like, oh, how did you add an employee? Simple. If we go to the employee section, into our settings section, and we go to the setup wizard, it'll allow us to set up your company information from your PAD agreement or your uh, the pre-authorized debit account that we're going to be debiting funds for to run payroll. You're going to be able to add your employees. You're going to be able to put your remittance frequency and things that you want to automate so that we can make things easier and we can pay the CRA on time. If you go through our setting and actually go to our startup wizard, you'll be able to do that. But you'll be able to create and add team members at any point in time. So team members, of course, are independent contractors or employees or different levels of business of employees that you can have or team members that you can have. And you'll be able to put in their details. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of edit this so you can actually see what it looks like for one of these guys. So I've got Allison Automotive, where you'll put their date of birth, their SIN number, their marital status, what their gender is, things like email, phone, address, and then of course their access to their paychecker, which is the employee portal. You'll also be able to see some things like the employee management information. So things like date of hire, are they a permanent employee? What's their position? Are there any HR events that have happened that we want to keep track of that are here and you can keep track of in like a little bit of a note section? And then also let's take a look at some of the payroll details here as well. And then afterwards, the payment details. The payroll details allow you to say, hey, are they salaried? How much do they get paid? What's their structure like? And on top of that, do they have any specific vacation or vacation time, vacation pay owing, as well as some tax rules? When people fill in the TD1 form, we're able to update it here, of course, and create some exemptions if we need to. And then, of course, put the province of employment because that'll create a tax table for that employee, of course, as well as the deductions, if there are any, benefits, if you're adding anything else, and payroll history. Some really cool stuff. You can kind of fill in quite a bit of details. And of course, the payment details goes to talk about their direct deposit form, right? So that we can direct deposit to them directly. And this will be allow you to add that manual payment. In this case, we've set it to check, test account, fictitious individual. They don't have a bank account. So we can set it to check or manual payment, which you can run a pay run and then they'll get their pay stub and you can send them an Interact transfer or you can send them, cut them a check if it, depending on the industry that still use checks, of course. Okay. So running payroll is very much a cinch. If we go to run payroll and we click our dates that we want to run payroll for, and it's a biweekly nature, when frequency, we will allow ourselves to be able to move forward and actually run payroll. So it says this payroll is scheduled to be paid in 2026 as per the Canadian Revenue Agency guidelines. The payroll will be allocated to the 2026 year. Okay, so basically it's telling me that if I'm going to make a payment in 2026, obviously we need to change over our year because, we don't need to do that right now. I'm just going to show you. We're going to go and do the last month of the year, so I can avoid that right now, just to give you an idea of how to run a pay run for those who haven't seen it. We're going to go ahead and run this payroll with the pay date for December 31st, 2025. And then it's going to allow us to process and get into what we call our salary section, and then our timesheet section for our employees, for those who are time-based, and then be able to calculate this. Very simple. Ultimately, we'll be able to review it, and then we'll be able to kind of set those payments properly and show you how easy it is to run a pay run. So I apologize right now that because this is on our internal server, it should be a little bit quicker, but I know that we're deploying a couple of changes. So you'll probably see our system just running a little bit further. We're not on our production server, which means that this is not open to the public. And so the cool thing is that our open to the public servers are going to be a little bit quicker than this. So as we have it processed, we will have it go through, and then you will see actually the solution. So I appreciate your patience. There we go. Cool. So we'll have our salaried employees, and then we'll see the regular hours, of course, their hourly rates, their rates in general, and obviously what they're going to be getting paid. If we are fine with these regular hours that these employees are going to be getting, we're going to simply check mark them and approve them. They'll go green or blue depending on the screen resolution, and then that means that we have confirmed that that is accurate what they're going to be getting paid. We're going to move forward and click next. It'll take us basically to the timesheet details of our time-based employees. In this case, it says that you don't have any time-based employees, so we won't worry about this, and we'll go to the next step either by clicking next or by clicking on the next chevron that says calculate. Once we hit calculate, it will come up with a prompt. And the prompt will say, do you want to calculate those payrolls using your company defaults? The answer is yes. Currently, we want to use the company defaults to be able to run a pay run. And you'll be able to make some changes here. If you said no, you want to use some custom deductions, you can do that. It'll give us a review of all the employees, their hours, their total gross and deductions, and of course, their net pay. If you had more than 4 or 5 employees, as you can see on the screen, and you wanted to see maybe the 20, 30, 100 employees in the journal, you can export this, of course, so you can see some details much quicker or a bird's eye view of it in a spreadsheet. You can also go through it here if you only have a couple, so you can change it to different employees and actually see their information. In this case, Allison Automotive will have some details about their pay stub, of course, and this is the summary. Their gross, their taxable income, of course, their hours and their earnings, and other earnings, deductions, of course, and of course, any of the statutory deductions that are there. Pretty cool to see all of that. You can make a couple of changes in our settings section if you need to add more deductions and benefits, of course, or something custom. But once you've taken a look at all those employees' information and you want to finalize the pay run, you go into the payment section. You mark them all to direct deposit or checks or manual, meaning there's some fees here that we charge. Of course, this is something that accountants and bookkeepers will see. No end users will see because if you're servicing your clients, you'll likely be using our fees plus whatever service that you're charging for to bill for your client. And you're able to add some optional security pins right here. So you're able to enable the security pin so that people aren't able to release funds willy-nilly, of course, right? So we strongly encourage people to do that. And then we go ahead and ask people to finish their pay run. It always asks us, of course, if you want to authorize and finish it, of course, we do. Do we want to send employee payslip notification? We do, but in this case, I'm just going to check it off just so we don't get a bunch of random emails. And then once we authorize, it should process everything and it will actually update all of our information in our reports afterwards. And then, of course, many times accountant bookkeepers would like to send the GL report over to their accounting software of choice, whether it be QuickBooks Online or Cashew or Xero. That we integrate with an array of different accounting softwares like FreshBooks and QuickBooks Desktop even, so that you can actually send the information over to your accounting software of choice. But the cool thing is that you'll be able to have that information pretty much accessible to you once you actually finalize the pay run. So once that's done, it'll take all that, it'll update all the reports, and then you will have that information handy for yourself. So here you go. Everything's been kind of taken care of. You've done your full pay run, and then all your reports are going to be activated. Okay. There's an array of different reports we have, everything from pay run reports to accounting and yearly reports. So there's really cool stuff that you can do here and actually see direct deposits when they were sent, if we'd ever debited, if we've sent something to the CRA from a CRA remittance that we can automate, and we automate for all of our clients. We can show you all that information. It's all going to be accessible for you. And we'll encourage you guys to take a look at it when you guys have your own accounts, of course, when you're servicing your client. Our team can help you out with showing that, of course, all to you. The other thing that's also really cool is if you go to our homepage, right from actions and then year end, you'll be able to go to our year end checklist and review the year to date information overview that we've done this. We've done this webinar in the past, so you can see some things that have been already completed. So you're seeing a big green check mark, everything's good to go. But I'll be able to create that employee tax slip information right now. I can continue my T4, but if it was brand new, we would say obviously generate T4s or T4As and such. And one of the things that we actually do is we provide 3 different levels of submission, and I'll explain them a little bit more to you. The first thing is basically the automatic submission. There's a cost of about $30 that we charge when we submit everything to the CRA for you. Once it's automatically updated and everything, your employees will be able to see their T4s that everything's been updated and be seen in their platform, in their specific employee portal. The online submission is okay. It just means that you've generated your T4s right here, but you're submitting the online submission yourself. Of course, you log into the CRA and submit. In the manual submission, which we don't encourage for people who have more than 5 employees, because you'll likely get dinged and fined, is if you want to print and send it to the CRA yourself, you can do that as well. Of course. We recommend everybody doing the automatic submission. It's super easy to do and ready to rock. So at this point, basically, it'll create the T4s that have already been created, and it can also submit it to the CRA. Super simple stuff. Very easy to do. And then you can view your T4s, right? In this case, it's a test account, so not everything's going to be able to be done completely as you would have it when everything has been set up for your client or for yourself. But you can view T4s if you need to. You can see an array of different other things as well. Now, that's really simple when you're in an account. One of the things that's really cool, though, is that you can go back to your Evolve dashboard, which is what a majority of our firms are using. And in our Evolve dashboard, you'll be able to see these tiles like we talked about earlier. But there's going to be a tax filing tile, and it'll tell me if I've actually submitted my information. And if I haven't, I can actually go to a different client, complete the tax filing right from here, and it'll take me right to it. And it'll give me an overview. Have we created D4s? Have we created T4As? Have we done the RL1s? Have we completed and submitted them? We've done all that. We can generate the year-to-date information like we talked about. We've done some other ones like T4As and RL1s in the past, but we can continue to create T4s here as well. Again, right from the dashboard from before, making it super simple and easy and such a cinch. So we'll go through the same process to be able to do it. That is how you can process this information in a nutshell. Very simple stuff, very easy. Anyways, I've gone over a little bit of time that I have. We're still within the hour time frame, of course, but I wanted to make sure that we had it. If you had any questions, we'll be happy to provide you any knowledge that you provide. Likely, if you have been talking to one of our account managers or one of our business development managers, they're likely going to reach out to you to say if there's any questions that they can answer for you. But I'm able to answer any questions, of course, as well. So please don't hesitate to put it in the chat. And if there are no questions, people typically ask, I'll give some frequently asked questions and their answers right now. One of the things that we've noticed a lot is our people ask us for our costs of our service. And one of the things that I tell a lot of people is there's a lot of different costs really with PaymentEvolution. If you go to paymentevolution.com right now, you'll be able to see some of our plan types, and you'll be able also to see what the level of service that we provide for our accounts and bookkeepers. You can simply go to our pricing page under accounts and bookkeepers, and you can actually see the different plan levels that we have. So what I showed you today with the dashboard is our Evolve platform. It's our most popular platform, and we see a lot of people use this platform. And on average, I would say it's about $25 a month per client, plus transactional fees, which are about $1.50 per employee per payment. This is the one that people mostly use, especially if they have 15 clients or more. If you fall into that under that category and you're really kind of a smaller firm that is only dealing with some maybe 1 to 5 different clients, we have an advanced plan, which the cost of the service is a little bit more cost. It's less cost prohibitive if that's the case. If we want to put it that way, I guess it's more cost effective. It's $10 a month per client and $1.50 per employee per payment. And then of course there are other fees that might be incidental costs. Things like the T4s, for example. Once a year, it's a batch submission for $30 to give you an idea. Same thing with all of our other plans. Our Accelerate plan is actually a little bit higher. It's more like $34 per month per client. It creates a lot more functionality and the ability of separation and delegation of duties for different users, so that you can actually have maybe employee number 1 only have client 1 through 5 client files, and then employee number 2 have number 6 client file to number 10 client file. There's an array of things that we can do, along with giving you dedicated account managers and access to payroll specialists and help and client support, and a ton of different training that we provide as well. There's an array of different things that you can get from our different plan levels. And one of the reasons why we don't show the pricing just on here is very simple. It's actually because many times accounting professionals, we provide a wholesale pricing for them so that they can provide the service to their clients. If you're looking for a client to use their own solution, meaning use an account where they can pay for it themselves and they want to maybe have access to the payment, but you're only assisting them, they can go on retail plans, and they can cost varying different costs depending on the amount of employees and functionalities that you're looking for. But on average, you're looking at about $75 a month per account for people who are doing things well and having access to everything, right? Direct deposits and remittances and having access to different functionality and shorter lead times. So in a nutshell, if you're looking for what we showed you, it's on average about $25 a month per client, plus $1.50 per employee per pay. But if you like to have that information, we actually have one pagers that we can send to you so that it could be really simple and you can have access to it. We encourage you guys to take a look at them. Actually, I'll show one right now as well. Here we go. I'll put it on my screen so you guys can see it. And then that way you guys can take a look. Oop, let's see if I can find it here. There we go. So our advanced plan, just to give an idea, that we talked about, $10 a month per client and the different functionality that we have as well, it's all going to be there. And then on top of that, if you have any other questions with regards to our different plan levels, we can make sure that we send it off to you, of course. But just to give an idea, it's all there. We don't try to hide things. We just want to make sure that we have the information ready for you guys. All right, everybody, that's it for us. Have a great day and a happy tax season for everybody.
Dustin, sorry, I'm just going to jump in for a second. We had a question in the Q&A from Christine, and she says the MTD journal report does not show in the reports list. After payroll period is closed, I cannot retrieve the MTD journal report anymore. Is there a way to retrieve the MTD journal report?
Thanks, Ariana. I couldn't hear my, unfortunately, so some technical difficulties on my side, but thank you very much. Thank you again, everybody. If you have any questions, please send us some information and